this is James, and I'm here with the Oracle Outlook for the week starting September the 12th, 2016. I'm here in my consultation room. I'm here on the floor. The floor is actually one of my favorite spots to do reading. So I have been reading cards for 17 years now. When I started out, I read the cards in the living room of my apartment at the time. So I read them on the floor in the living room and then the floor in the bedroom. So I did that for a number of years, and now that I have my own home, I have a dedicated space for seeing clients, which is the space that we are in right now. And one of the things when I'm not doing a in-person consultation or one over the phone or by Skype, so this is typically when I'm pulling cards for my email subscriber list. I do a weekly reading that gets sent out to my list every Monday, and I usually sit on the floor to pull the cards for the reading. So if you are interested in that, if you want to be a part of that subscriber list, because I send out a reading that doesn't get posted on anywhere of my other social media hands like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, because I do post there. So this reading just solely is for my email subscriber list. So if you'd like to be a part of that, I will have the link to my website in the description box below, and basically you'll be landing on my homepage. There will be a form at the very top of the homepage. You can't miss it. And you just fill in the necessary information and you will be a part of that community. So again, that information will be in the description box below. So this week I'm going to be doing an angel card reading. It's that time. So I'm doing an angel card reading, and the deck that's going to be assisting me for this week's reading is the Healing with the Angels Oracle cards. I've recently gotten back into working with this deck. I had it for some time and it just kind of sat on the shelf, and I have been working with it in my own personal readings, which I do on the floor of my bedroom to this day. So I've been working with it for a while now in my own personal draws, and I really felt led and inspired to use it for this week's reading. So again, this is the Healing with the Angels Oracle cards. It's by Doreen Virtue and published by Hay House. So I have the cards out, and so when I'm sitting on the floor and I'm shuffling the cards, and by the way, I should say that I've already done the invocation, so I've said my prayer to Spirit and the angels, asking them for assistance, asking them for guidance, asking them for insight and information that's going to be helpful for us, that's for you and me, this week. And so I like to shuffle the cards a number of ways when I'm sitting on the floor. So this is one way. And then another fun way for me is to take the deck, sit it on the floor. And this may be helpful if you're working with cards that are oversized. Angel cards typically are not the same size as a standard tarot deck. So I usually shuffle them this way, and plus because the angel cards have a sturdier card stock, and so I can't Vegas shuffle them like I like to. So I do that. And the shuffling is a nice way for me to allow to feel the presence of my angels. They tend to come in when I'm shuffling, as I'm feeling them now, just as I said that. And so for me, the experience is I can feel them at the crown of my head. So I'm feeling that. So I'm going to shuffle one more time because I'm feeling like that would be enough. Now what I'm doing is I'm cutting the deck. And then another fun thing I like to do, because I'm on the floor, is I like to fan them out. Like so. And then I just pick the three that I'm drawn to, like this one is calling out to me. And so the first card is going to represent what we might need to know for the beginning of the week. Second card is here. It's going to represent what we might need to know for the middle of the week. And then scanning the cards one more time. I'm looking at this one, and this will be what we might need to know rounding out the week. So these are 3 cards. I'm going to pick the other cards up. All right. So for the beginning of the week, we have abundance, and so this is a card that I actually pull since I mentioned my own draws. This card for me comes up quite a bit. So for me, it can just represent as the first card, it could be that some of us watching this video may be challenged with a sense of abundance. And so abundance can come in many ways. For me, abundance just represents our own well-being, but a lot of us, and I have been concerned with this as well, is like financial abundance. So when people immediately see the word abundance, 9 times out of 10, most likely, they'll be thinking about financial abundance. So it could be, for some of us watching this video, we may be really concerned about our own sense of financial abundance and a sense of prosperity this week. So I'm seeing that. As I look at the image has an angel who's playing an instrument. So for me, it could represent a couple of things. For me, it could just represent something instrumental could be happening at the beginning of this week that may lead you to a greater sense of abundance or allow you to make a shift in your consciousness about prosperity. So I'm seeing that as a possibility, something instrumental happening. The other thing here could be that, and this is just going with the picture and being very literal, is that I'm looking at the angel playing the instrument, and it could be for somebody who is actually into music or a musician, and that is your way of creating abundance. And so if you have a musical talent, a musical ability, that could be your instrument to creating a greater sense of abundance for you this week. And if that is the case, the angel who works with music is Archangel Sandalphon. I always think of Archangel Sandalphon with this card. So in that regard, you could be working with or calling upon Archangel Sandalphon for assistance with your musical talent, your musical skill, your musical ability. Along with, in addition to that, I'm seeing Archangel Gabriel, who is the angel of creativity and divine inspiration. So it could be like, now I'm seeing this. If you're like a songwriter, let's say, then you could work with Archangel Sandalphon and Archangel Gabriel as a team. You know, I'm a big believer in my business, being an angel card reader, I always refer to the angels as my business partners. So if you're listening to this and that resonates with you, then you can consider the angels to be your songwriting team if you're a songwriter. If you're a musician and you write music, then again, the angels could be your composing team, you know, whatever that is for you. Composing was the first word that came to me. But get the angels in on the process. They are a part of your team and they want to support you, but you have to invite them. You have to allow them to be part of that process. So I'm seeing that specifically around, you know, somebody who is creative, somebody who's a musician, you know, somebody who's into music, you know, writing it, you know, playing it, that kind of energy. Along with Archangel Sandalphon, when it comes to abundance, Archangel Sandalphon is also the angel of faith. So it could be, in terms of our abundance, you know, we're being inclined to, how can we demonstrate more faith in spirits and the angels guiding us, leading us, instructing us to create abundance. You know, I'm a big believer in that they give us insight and guidance and instruction, and we have to follow that guidance. It's not like the idea like abundance is just going to fall down from the sky. If it did, that would be great. I would be the first person out there. Trust me when I tell you, I would be the first person out there. But I believe that Spirit and the angels give us ways to create abundance in our lives. And we have to follow the guidance and we have to pay attention to the signs, because another thing about this is that abundance is around us all the time. But are we really noticing the ways that we're abundant? We may be noticing the ways in which we're lacking, but are we noticing and paying attention and celebrating the ways in which we're really, truly abundant? I'm thinking of, and this is just for me because I think of Christian scripture because I'm a Christian metaphysician, and so I refer to scripture in my own personal spiritual practice. And it says in Deuteronomy, it says that we have the power to create wealth. And so it could be like we are being called, being led to work or tap into that power to create wealth in our lives. So I'm seeing that as a possibility. And the last thing, going with the idea of music and Archangel Sandalphon, because I said Archangel Sandalphon is associated with music and prayers. Music and prayers are ways of raising our vibrational frequency. You know, it's about elevating the frequency. So I'm seeing that as a kind of like a correlation. This week, at the beginning of the week especially, like abundance, maybe like if we're are wanting to tap into our power to create wealth and be abundant, it may be a matter of raising our vibrational frequency and raising it from the consciousness of lack and raising it up to that level or that frequency of abundance. You know, frequencies are like a radio station, keeping with the idea of music, okay? It's like a radio station, and you have to tune into a certain radio station to hear a particular type of music. It's the same thing with things that we want to create in our lives. We have to tap in or tune into that frequency. So I'm thinking that really the lesson of the abundance card is about allowing us to find the instruments that are going to allow us to tap into the frequencies of the things that we want to create in our lives this week. So I'm seeing that with the abundance card. Moving to the next card for the middle of the week. Okay, so there's a story going on here. So the next card is miracles. Okay, no accident, miracles. And so I'm looking at the image on the card, and the first thing when I get the miracles card is that it reminds me of the definition of a miracle according to A Course in Miracles. And according to A Course in Miracles, a miracle is defined as a shift in perception. And notice what I said about the end thing with the abundance card is about, you know, raising your frequency so you can tap into that frequency that the thing that you want to create is at. And so miracles is all about that. It requires a shift in our perception, which really is elevating your consciousness or changing your consciousness to kind of allow that thing to come about. Because I'm a big believer, and I've said this in previous videos, is that thought creates experience. So sometimes we have to have a change in our thinking in order to be in alignment with that thing we want to manifest. So the interesting thing about the miracles card is that I'm looking at the border, and the border has fairies all lined up around it. And then the angel on the card actually has her finger extended, and there's a fairy on her finger. So for me, it's about fairies are nature's angels, but they are also the angels that we can call upon to help us with manifestation and material support. And the angel on the card in that regard is making me feel like Archangel Ariel, because Archangel Ariel is the angel that works closely with the angels, because she works with the physical world, and so she is very closely aligned with the fairies. So if you're wanting to, going back to the first card, if you're wanting to practice more abundance, because Archangel Ariel is also known as the angel of abundance, she's one of the angels of abundance, you can work with your angels of abundance, you can work with your fairies, but you can also call upon Archangel Ariel to lead you to the resources that you would need to have in order to help you create or manifest the things that you would like. But it's first going to require a shift in perception. You know, and going with the idea that fairies are, according to the picture on the card, small, little beings. Again, it goes back to noticing the little ways miracles show up in your life, the little ways that you are abundant, because they happen all the time. But we may be hanging on to or hoping for the one big thing, but I believe that that one big thing happens more likely when you take the time to notice all the little things that are taking place in your life. The fairies make me think of magic, so it's about looking at all the little ways that magic happens in your life. So for me, this is the miracles card for the middle of the week. And then moving to the end of the week, we have romance. Now this is very interesting, okay? So it could be, I'm going with the most obvious, that the romance card could be coming up for somebody who is maybe one of the things that you're wanting to manifest in your life is a new romance. So that is a strong possibility. But when I read angel cards, I'm always a big believer in coming up with another meaning or alternate meanings, because that may not be the thing. Like for me personally, I'm not in the romance vibe. So for me, this card, it wouldn't apply in that regard. So I'm looking at the image, and I'm looking at it this way. I'm seeing there's an angel who's a male who's embracing a woman on the card. So again, it could be, again, going with the theme that we've been showing here, or, you know, I've been talking about. The most obvious thing for me comes into like, how can you become more connected or have a deeper connection or relationship, if you will, with your angels this week? That would be my go-to for the romance card if the new romance slant of it doesn't apply to you, doesn't resonate with you, doesn't fit for you. So I'm seeing that. it could be, again, that the angel is a being who's in spirit, or is the spirit world, and then the woman is the material world. And so since I'm seeing that, it makes me think of the Lover's card from Tarot. And one of the meanings of that card for me is it's about the union, if you will, of the spiritual and the material. So it could be about, like, how can you kind of have a deeper relationship with spirit that would allow you to have a material experience that you're hoping to get. It's making me feel like the idea here is about embracing more of your spiritual nature, embracing more of the spiritual side of life that's going to help you enhance your material experience or your physical experience. I'm seeing like it's about a merging of the two. You know, and again, going with the idea of the Lover's card from Tarot, because I'm still seeing that in my head, the chief meaning of that card is about choice. And so, again, it's about everything that we experience in this world is a matter of choice. And so, again, going back to the first card, because for me, when I read angel cards, the third card is usually a direct response to the first card. So if we're in that space of wanting to create abundance, if we're believing in, or we're just noticing in the ways that life is lacking, for a better word, that's a matter of choice. You're choosing to look at things from that lens. And so it's a matter of, if you want to flip it, you're again going to have to make a different choice, because looking at life in that, from that lens or from that perspective, is helping to produce the results that you have. And I'm a big believer in, if you're not happy with the results, then you have to make a different choice. And so it's about choosing to look at life in a different way in order to produce a different result. So I'm seeing that. I'm taking a step back and I'm looking at the card again. So I think part of it is, with the Romance card, it's about the idea here about embracing yourself or loving yourself as much as the angels love you, because you know the angels are all about love and light. And so it's about, like, maybe this is an opportunity for you to love yourself more. And as I'm saying that, that could be a direct correlation to the idea of becoming more abundant. Sometimes when we love ourselves more, we find that we are deserving of abundance, that we're worthy of abundance, that kind of energy. So the more you love yourself, the more that you will find that you are worthy of having that. You deserve that. You open the door to allow it into your life. And so it could be a matter of, like, when you take a look, and if the idea here is about creating abundance, but you may have a thought in your head that allows you to believe that you don't deserve to be abundant, that can't be possible for you, whatever the thought may be, that may be creating a block to that. And it's just a matter of you kind of dismantling that block. And it could be just a matter of loving yourself just a little bit more and believing that you are deserving and that you are able to have that, because you're worth it. I'm hearing that song by by Fifth Harmony, because going back to Sandalphon likes to give me tunes, music. So I'm hearing that song by Fifth Harmony, Worth It. So so just know, and then following that with the tagline from L'Oreal, that you know that you're worth it. So I'm hearing that. Just be open and receptive to being in that space of allowing. So I'm seeing that with the Romance card at the end of the week. So that will be how I conclude this week's Oracle Outlook. I'm James Himm Mitchell. I'm signing off. And as I sign off, I want to thank you for sharing this space here with me this week. And I look forward to sharing the same space with you again in our next video next week. And until then, I'm wishing you love, light, and angel blessings. Take care.